Hello everybody and welcome back to Garibaldi Red, a Nottingham Forest podcast. I'm Mac Tays, your host, and as Forest fought a defeat to Everton late at the City Ground, it was a last minute winner, and as the Everton fans went wild, maybe the Forest fans just slightly over-exaggerated what happened at the weekend, as the Reds still sit third in the Premier League, ready for this final run-in. What is next for Forest? We will discuss that, and the big run-in that lies ahead to make sure that Forest can keep hold of this Champions League place that they've had for the majority of the season. Joined first of all to discuss the game by Dave Astbury, Forest fan podcast regular. Dave, nice to see you, mate. Good to have you back in young company today. What have you been up to? How's life?
Yeah, it's good, mate. Yeah, business is going all right. Keep myself fit. Got plenty of books to read, some cracking albums to listen to. There's lots of good stuff on the telly, and the team that I love dearly are third in the Premier League and FA Cup semi-finalists, and the biggest overachievers in world football. So, with Nottingham Forest being a central cog in my life, it's all really, really good, mate. Thank you.
Good, mate. Also joined by Sam from the Tricky Tees. Sam, how are you, mate? And yeah, what did you make to it on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, we're gonna obviously dive into it. If anybody thought that Forest getting to the Champions League was going to be a walk in the park, and we weren't going to have days like we did on Saturday, then they need to give their head a wobble. So it's part and parcel of it, and we are, like Dave says, we're still third in the Premier League. So let's all relax, let's all calm down, and we'll move forward and get that Champions League spot that we'll know we're going to get. So it's fine.
Yes, very nice. Listeners and viewers, you'll be pleased to know Dave Astbury has a new microphone. So there'll be no more hearing the police sirens and the bus outside his flat in Teen. There'll be Dave. You're coming across all crisp and clear, mate. I can feel you in my ears.
As you said on Peter Kay, coming in your ear, mate. You know what I mean? So I might be a little bit too clear for some people. I think there are a lot of people there would rather me be muffled than not. But no, it's good. And I've loved listening to Sam there, the voice of youth and reason, mate. He's spot on the money, that lad.
Yes, well, good stuff. We'll discuss throughout the game and everything that lies ahead for Forest. We are live on Facebook, Nottingham Forest News, and YouTube, Garibaldi Red, if you want to get involved in the discussion on this Monday afternoon. Dave, we'll start with you then. What did you make to the game overall? How did you almost assess Forest setting up as well? Chris Wood returns to the starting 11, whether he was ready, whether Forest rushed him back, but kind of rightly so, because who else is going to step into his position? And yeah, what do you make to Forest setting up from the start? And I don't know about you, but I thought that it was going to be a tougher game than people imagined. And David Moyes always knows how to compete against some of the very best teams. And he's a good manager, a good Premier League proven manager. And I thought he did a job on Forest at the weekend.
Yeah, I think the first thing to say is congratulations to Everton. They played really well. They deserved it. And if you're going to accept your victories, you've got to be gracious in defeat and show some dignity. They were the better team. I watched Match of the Day highlights on Saturday night, and Guy Mowbray, who's seen a lot of games in his time, he said that Everton were the better team, and it was plain to me that Everton were the better team. And I thought David Moyes was outstanding. He's one of the few coaches this year to basically outwitting Nuno, take some dukes. Nuno's fantastic. But I thought Everton were the better team and deserved it. I don't think there should be any complaints. I thought the setup and the selection was pretty much okay. Everybody seemed to be, when they saw it at 1:45, everybody's like, yeah, that's good. Woody's back. Really, there's only Taiwo missing and Ola. So I kind of thought, this is pretty good. I'd expected maybe Anthony to miss, Woody not to be back. But they were back. Well, Anthony came on later on. Woody was back in. But the truth of the matter is that Everton, if you'd gone to the game not knowing the respective positions of the two teams in the table, you'd have thought Everton were third and Forest were 14th, 13th, or whatever they were. I thought Everton were excellent. They were brilliantly organised by David Moyes. And, the guy's been around a long time. It's only a couple of years ago since he won a European trophy. So what I found interesting before the game was that nobody mentioned Everton, and I said I might be being a bit harsh here. I took that as a sort of a sense of entitlement. Oh, it's only Everton. Moyes is a dinosaur. We'll win this, and I I was very wary before the game. I'm very wary of all of these games in the running. I think our running is incredibly difficult because a lot of them are seen as games that we should be winning. Now, this idea of should be winning is the most dangerous thing in football. And my view is, a lot of people are sort of thinking that Champions League's in the bag. I think we got a boost by the fact that Arsenal secured that 5th Champions League spot with that brilliant performance against Real Madrid on Tuesday night. And everybody's thinking it's in the bag. I'll talk to you when we're coming out of the City ground after we've played Chelsea the last game of the season. Only then will it be done. And, I like the idea of, don't write us off. I hope anybody's not stupid enough to write us off. But there's a hell of a lot of work to be done. And to start thinking it's in the bag, to me, is way too premature. And I think, we've talked about reality checks earlier in the season, losing to City, losing to Arsenal. I don't think this performance was as bad as the one at the Emirates. I thought our performance at Arsenal was terrible. It wasn't as bad as the one at Bournemouth. It wasn't as bad as the one at City. It wasn't as bad as the 12 minutes at Newcastle. Forest have had some tough times this year, but our lads have battled back from it. And I'm fairly certain that they're going to give these last 6 league games plus the semi-final a real good go. The spirit in the camp's good. They are humble. Nuno's humble. Nobody's. I don't think any of the staff inside the City ground at the weekend took Everton lightly. I think some of the supporters did. It was. If there's anything good to come out of it, we might now get back to being written off, because I think people will look at the top sort of 6 or 7. They'll see Liverpool, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Newcastle, and Chelsea and Manchester City as, and I agree with them, all having deeper squads than ours. The depth of Villa's squad to make 8 changes and beat us last week showed that we are a year behind Villa in our development. Villa are where we'd like to be in a year's time. I'm optimistic about Forest. I think we're going in the right direction. Edu was in the building, I believe, on Saturday. So Mr. Marinakis and Mr. Marinakis' determination to get us further along the road will take us beyond what happened on Saturday. But I think if anything now, a lot of people, the people who had us going down at the start of the season have been made to look very foolish by the brilliant things that our lads have achieved this year. They'll be all back to being Forest are going to be the ones to drop out of this Champions League race. And when you're unconsidered, as Everton were at the City ground on Saturday, by a lot of hours, it makes you a very, very difficult opponent. So the idea maybe now that it's going to be Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Villa and Newcastle, and Forest are kind of disregarded, it might help Forest. It might give Forest a bit of a motivation. I'd always rather be under the radar. I'd always rather be not getting ahead of myself. And I think Moisey, who's a wily old fox and a damn good organiser of a football team. And let's make no bones about it, Everton are the biggest team I've seen at the City ground this year.
Huge.
Can you imagine an identity parade that involved Jacob Bryan, Branthwaite and James Tarkowski? I mean, they're like enforcers for like an organised crime, them 3. And they're big units. I mean, Woody looked small against those 3. So Moisey had them set up really, really well, and they deserved their win. And, it was a tough day for Forest. Not a pleasant day, but it's not the end of the world. And, I think I don't know, maybe I'm not your typical football fan, but I try not to veer between, mass euphoria at a win and mass hysterical, despair at a loss. The truth is somewhere in between. But, it was, if you like, Max, to summarise it, Everton did a Forest on Forest. They did to us what we've been doing to lots of other teams this year, and full credit to them. It has to be remembered, they've only lost one of the last 11, and that was to the champions to be. And even then at Anfield, they could have got some. They're a seriously good side at the moment, Everton. Far better than they were under Dyche. Yeah,
for sure. Dave, I always knew you weren't a typical football fan, mate, when you were drinking herbal tea at the ground. You drink tea instead of having a pint, Dave. That's when we knew you weren't a typical football fan.
Brew.
Yeah, good old brew. Just adding to Dave's points about Everton as well, only Brentford have picked up more points on the road in the Premier League than Everton since David Moyes' first away match in charge since returning to the club, which was the 25th of January. He's achieved more than David Moyes has achieved more in terms of away points than they managed under Sean Dyche the whole of last season, which is quite interesting. And of course, only Forest's third Premier League defeat at home as well this season, so perspective needed. Sam, Dave mentioned a little bit about entitlement there at the City grounds, and kind of me maybe playing devil's advocate here, and actually what I was thinking going into the ground on Saturday. And I was interviewed on 5 Live before, and I actually went, if Forest want to be a Champions League club and we ask ourselves what our identity is, then our identity, with all respect to Everton, would be beating sides like that at the City ground today. That came back to bite me on the, and I was wrong. But, I mean, did you feel that there was that entitlement going into the ground? Did you feel that everyone almost expected it to be a walk in the park against what now is, and we all know, is a difficult Everton side?
It's funny how perspective changes so fast, isn't it? I think that game last season, everyone was going to that game super nervous. It's one of those games where it's like, oh, we need to win this game. Like it's a battle of the two teams that are down there, and all of a sudden it's really funny that a year on, and we're going into that game thinking, oh, it's only Everton, walk in the park, 3 points guaranteed in the bag. Let's go home and enjoy Champions League football next season. That's obviously we're having a great time, but yeah, I think everyone needs to kind of get that perspective back, and maybe this is the performance that will kind of do that. We've had those setbacks in the season, and Dave mentioned a couple of the bad ones, the Bournemouth one, which was one of them where they were obviously flying high at the time, and we went into that thinking, well, we can match them, and they absolutely outclassed us, and Everton have done a job on us again. So I'm hoping that it's going to be one of those that kind of grounds us again, resets everything. We've got a nice break till next Monday to kind of get together and kind of reassess what's going on and get everyone aligned again and yeah, I mean, like you say, it wasn't a terrible performance. The game as a whole wasn't great. It was a bit flat, which is not what we've seen from Forest all this season. We've been so used to seeing high energy attacking football, and we've been spoiled by that. So when we do get this off game, it comes as a bit of a shock to us all. But yeah, like I say, we need to get that perspective back, and I think that going forward, we've got a big task now to kind of see it through. I'd rather do this now, have this sort of performance now, with 7 or 8 games to go, and have this as the push to get us over the line. Because as it stands, we're third. We've still got a bit of a cushion to 6th place. I know that obviously that gap is closing with games in hand and things like that, but we are still in position. We've got the advantage as it stands. So if we have this slight wobble now, if you want to call it a wobble, then it's the best time to do it, regroup and go again and really kind of embrace the pressure, because that's what you've got to do. Is if you want to get into those spots, you've got to embrace the pressure, and good teams perform under pressure. So if we can't get over the line, then however good the season's been up to this point, if we can't handle the pressure in the cooking pot at the end of the season, then we don't deserve to be in the Champions League spots.
Yeah,
simple as that.
Yeah, it's a good point, mate. Spot on. Dave, and I thought really from minute one, Forest, and no excuse because, yeah, all right, they're professional footballers, but Forest looked a bit leggy. Forest looked quite tired, and maybe that was the way that Everton kind of broke the game up, and it was quite scrappy. There was a lot of fouls in there, but we struggled to string 2 passes together, I thought, from minute one. And as Sam alluded to, that it was flat. The atmosphere felt a bit different after a magnificent display banner from Forza Garibaldi, as always. It just felt flat. It just felt like Everton were here to kind of stop the party, and as you said a bit ago, do a Forest on a Forest.
Yeah, it just seemed like people were kind of going through the motions going into the stadium, and then it was like, right, we go through the motions into the game. No, it's all well and good getting up for Manchester City and Manchester United and Arsenal and Liverpool. We've had these fantastic sequence of home games against, the giants of the league, and Everton are a big club, but we've got to, they all come alike. I absolutely do not for 1 minute think that Nuno or the lads or the coaching staff took Everton lightly. Absolutely not. Nuno's too humble for that. I watched Nuno's press conference of the week last week, and I think they should get rid of these press conferences, because I find the journalists ask the same questions all every week, and they want him. I think whoever runs the press conference should come out and say, we'll be taking questions about Everton, but nothing else, because nothing else matters. because Nuno strikes me as, if they ask him about, Champions League down the line or games to come, if they asked him about the FA Cup semi-final, Nuno's going to go, no, all that matters is Everton. So I've total faith in them. But I think there was a sort of like, right, give us our win, we're here. It doesn't work like that. I ran a team for 17 years, and the games that you think that you should be winning, the winnable ones, or perceived as the winnable ones, are always the most difficult. I thought that game at the weekend was far more difficult than City at home, United at home, Liverpool at home, and Arsenal at home, because you have a perception of how colossal the task in front of you is, and it was almost like, well, this isn't as big as those tasks. It's going to be the same when we play Brentford. That's not going to be easy at all. Leicester, everybody just assumes that Leicester's 3 points in the bag. They got a 2-2 draw at Brighton. So they might be down by then and have like total relaxation in their play. And Chelsea, I think Chelsea's the one I do feel winnable, because I think Chelsea are the sort of in a sort of a fug at the moment. They just don't seem to know what they're doing, despite the depth of squad. So yeah, it was a strange game. I thought Everton just had lots of the ball from the kickoff. I think they kicked the match off, and it seemed to go through Jimmy Garner and then Idrissa Gana-Gueye, and then Jack Harrison had lots of it. And Broja was showing up front, and they just seemed to naturally go Everton's way. And then when our lads got the ball, for whatever reason, and maybe there isn't a reason, it's just life, they struggled to get their normal passing game going, whether it was Morg or Elliott or whoever, Nico Dominguez. These lads have been doing wonders to this point, absolute wonders, overachieving like you wouldn't believe. And some days, 1 week against Manchester United, you put 100% in, you beat them. You put the exact same in against Everton, and the result is wildly different. And that is life. And maybe that's too philosophical a view. I don't know. But it just seems to me, if you'd said before Manchester United, right, you lads ready to go? Our lads would have said, yeah, absolutely. If you said to them before Everton, you lads ready to go? Absolutely. They said the same thing. And you get wildly varying results. And unfortunately, the day was summed up by one of the best, if not part of the best defensive combination in the league, making a mistake like we haven't seen from him this year. And you just look at it and think, nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? He held his hand. I saw him afterwards. He looked to the sky. He knew what had happened. No point sort of dwelling on it. And these things happen. Great, great footballers, good footballers, not so good footballers. We all make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, then you're not going to progress. So, I think the interesting thing now is the approach towards Tottenham. And again, we've got to guard against this thinking, well, Tottenham are like having a bit of a shocker of a season, and they've just lost 4-2 at Wolves. Well, they lost at Wolves, so we'll beat them. Tell you what, it's going to be really difficult at the Tottenham. I'd just say, let's just assume Forest are underdogs in every one of these games going, and then it might be a bit easier. We cannot. I just worry sometimes that as football fans, we get ahead of ourselves. We go from 0 to 100 in like a second, and then we go back from 100 to like below 0 in no time at all. And we've got to guard against this hysteria. Yeah, you can have passion, but passion isn't sort of, losing your whatever's over whatever.
The main,
you know what I mean?
The main cause of head loss, isn't it, Dave? From going from 0 to 100 in 3 seconds, and then all of a sudden it's if you go off that road, then it's a car crash, isn't it?
To be fair to all of us, though, Sam, I think Forest have put us in this position because they've been so brilliant this season, and we're guaranteed a brilliant season. We're guaranteed incredible progress, whatever happens, right?
Yeah.
Forest have put us in this place where it is quite easy to think, hey, what a great side we are. We should be beating these. So it's not a clear-cut black and white thing. I think there are like shades of grey. And psychologically, for us as supporters, it's really interesting because we've had, and you lads have grown up in a fallow period where there's not been much to shout about. And here we are. We've gone from famine to relative feast in no time at all. And it's entirely human to get a little bit carried away, but I just don't think it helps the cause. And we have to just, woo, Tiger, settle down, and we go again. And I think where we are so fortunate is in our head coach. He's the guy who will remain calm, and he's the guy who will bring it back to planet Earth, And he was honest at the weekend. He said it wasn't good enough. We were second best. He said Everton pretty much bossed the game, which they did. And, I know they'll be working hard between now and, a week tonight to get it right. So, it's just fascinating. It's never dull, is it, with Forest?
No, never is, Dave. Talking of head loss. I mean, I was all right. I was quite calm, and then I was kind of. I managed to get on the road and got back on the M1, and then stopped off for a KFC, which made me feel quite a lot better. And then
comfort food, Max.
Comfort food. And then a bloke asked me what the Forest score was, and he was obviously a Forest man. I hadn't watched the game, and I said, "Oh, we lost 1-0." He went, "Oh, well, I won't be watching Match of the Day tonight." And then I got back in the car and had a voice note from our podcast producer, Dan, who will edit this podcast and most likely even be listening and watching now. He's a Villa fan and decided to voice note to say, just checking in on when the next episode is. Really good result for us lot today from our point of view. And that was my head loss. So our podcast producer caused my head loss on Saturday night because I was calm. I was all right up until that minute. Others weren't. Less said about that, the better. No. Sam, let's talk some individual players because, I mean, as in the 21st century and in modern day football, social media and Forest fans took to social media to criticise quite a few, particularly Alex Moreno and Jota Silva. Let's start with Jota Silva because, again, we're talking about going from a high to an absolute low. He came on against Villa, he changed the game, and Forest fans were almost, full of praise of him last week. We were crying out for that during that game. He changed the course of the game. We nearly got a point, and we thanked him for it after. Nuno rewards him, starts him on Saturday. Not saying that Anthony Elanga was perfect when he came on. Not saying that Callum Hudson-Odoi had a great game either. It was a bit of an off day for a lot of them. But I just thought Jota went from kind of a high to a low, and I just thought he just didn't look great at all. Couldn't string a pass together, went down quite easily, which we know that's what Jota does. We can't expect him to win fouls, and he's a bit like a Yates sometimes where he's looking for it. But I just felt like he wasn't really focused on the game, and I just thought he had quite a poor performance. I don't know about you.
Yeah, he goes through these. I would love him just to have a run of games where he kind of gets, because he shows it in spells. Like the Villa game, he was fantastic. He was so good, and he's obviously got quality there. And I mean, he got capped for Portugal when he was playing back in Portugal. He's obviously got talent in there, and he's a bit of an erratic player. Like he's not a conventional winger, is he? He's a bit of a ratty kind of player that doesn't give defenders any chance on the ball.
That's a brilliant way to describe him, by the way.
And that's what we. These are the kind of players that you kind of fall in love with. The ones that are like, they've got the talent, but they're also like they're a bit unconventional and they've got the passion. But he just seems to have these like ebbs and flows where he goes in and out of games and goes missing a little bit and gets frustrated, throws himself onto the ground, and I don't know whether I think he was a perfect signing for a team that were trying to stay in the Premier League. I think if we're going to try and move forward in summer, I think we would try and aim for someone with a little bit more quality that can perform consistently week in, week out. That's my opinion. I think he's got that ability to be a Premier League footballer. I just don't think in the direction that we're heading that he's necessarily someone for our future. Which is, it's sad to say, because I have liked him in parts of the season. I was at Brighton when he squared it to Sousa in the 2-2, and he obviously came on against Liverpool right at the start of the season where he was really good in that game as well. So he's had moments, but yeah, for me, I think he's not shown enough this season to kind of warrant himself a place in the Champions League chasing squad, if that makes sense. And like you said, we look at the quality that the likes of Villa and Newcastle have got on their wings. He's not there. He's not at the likes of Marcus Rashford, Asensio, Harvey Barnes. Like they're some like Anthony Gordon. They're serious wingers, and they are Champions League wingers. Yeah. Where he's just not, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's my
opinion. It's a really good point. I mean, Dave, why do you think a player like Jota Silva and also Anthony Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi really struggled? Was it the way that Everton set up? You could put it down to multiple things, but it just seemed like a lot of the times when Callum got the ball, particularly in that second half, driving towards the Trent end, and you're going, Callum, cut in and do what you've done all season, what you did last season as well. Just cut in, and yet Everton just stopped him doing that, and it kind of maybe was simple as that, or do you think there was something else to why Forest couldn't utilise what they've used all season, which was Anthony Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi, and really 2 players that have been a massive key to Forest's success.
I think the issue is that Forest are the box that's been opened, and everybody now knows what the chocolates are inside, if you like. Everybody knows what the flavours are. And that wily old bugger, Moisey, he will have watched hours and hours of footage. He'll have had the Everton lads a big cinema screen. This is what Callum Hudson-Odoi does. This is what Anthony does. This is what Anthony did last week against Everton, against Manchester United, apologies. And he almost did it against Aston Villa. Are you going to allow that? Jacob Ryan, you're going to allow that? James Tarkowski, you're going to allow that? Jared Branthwaite, you're going to allow it? Jordan Pickford, are you going to be aware of it? Everton would have done their homework. And I think one of the great sort of reasons why Forest, in a way, are victims of their own success, and it is success that we've had. It's, you know, if somebody said to us 3 lads on August the 10th when we started at Bournemouth that on April the 14th you'd be 3rd in the Premier League and in an FA Cup semi-final, we'd have gone, you've been ingesting magic mushrooms or something? What, you know?
You've been having Dave's herbal tea.
Yeah, a bit of chamomile and honey, Max. You know what I mean? And so the thing is, because Forest have played in a different way to the convention, in my view, Forest have cocked to snooker. We have to have lots and lots of the ball. And Forest have gone, yeah, well, it's all right having lots and lots of the ball, like Manchester City have done perennially, or England do. It just, the ball goes backwards and sideways and back, and there's never an incisive pass. Forest is going to say, let's get it down to an economy of effort and a clinical finish where when we've got the ball, we do something, but we don't necessarily have to have it all the time. That is a slightly revolutionary way of approaching Premier League football. It's in the past, it's always been like the team that has more possession is therefore the most worthy team. No, not anymore. Forest have gone. So Forest have caused everybody to kind of like, hang on a minute, we need to check what Nottingham Forest are doing. So now Forest have caused themselves to be scrutinised to the nth degree. And old Moisey will have looked at everything, and he'll have said to his lads at the back, the big guns, and they're all big lads, I tell you. Mikalenko's no shrinking violet either, right? And they get stuck in. Do not allow Nottingham Forest to be the Nottingham Forest that Nottingham Forest want to be. Knock them out of that rhythm. And Everton did it really, really well. They were organised. They were compact. They didn't allow any spaces. This is what Forest have done to so many. And I watched the analysis. I thought on Saturday night, I watched the highlights of the game, and I thought I was going to mute Alan Shearer and Danny Murphy because I thought, it's going to be too painful to listen to. But I ended up listening to it, and they were right. They just said, you know, they didn't really sort of write Forest off. They were saying, just one of those days with Forest. And they majored on Everton and Everton's organisational ability. And that's what David Moyes has done for so long and so well. It just meant that, like, Callum was always going to have 2 or 3 on him. And then when Anthony came on, Anthony never got a break. Jota never got no ball because it wasn't coming from Elliott or Morg or Nico in the middle. So it's basically Everton stymied Forest at every part of the game. You know, and then as I could see it coming, they were granted a chance by, you know, human error. It happens. You know, dear Murillo, did you want to make that mistake? God, absolutely not. No, there were people blaming Murillo. He didn't mean to do that. Have some sympathy for the guy. I wouldn't want to make a mistake in front of 30,000 people and millions watching on the telly. You know, and you know, when Dwight McNeil came and I thought, oh no, this guy again.
Always.
And he put the ball through to Abdoulaye Doucouré.
I could picture it, Dave. I could picture it.
Yeah, it nearly didn't get there, and he stuck it away. And you kind of thought, yeah, that's football for you. You know what I mean? So, no, you just got to give credit to David Moyes and Everton. They, you know, they showed why they are so much better than they were under Daichi. You know what I mean? I mean, the Everton at Christmas bore no relation whatsoever to the Everton on Saturday. Yeah, fair play to him
for sure. No, I agree, Dave, and I think that, you know, I think when Everton have so many chances, and they did, particularly second half, it was like kind of hiding behind your hands, hiding behind the seats. They're bound to get on the end of one, and sadly, as you said, Dave, that's football. Murillo makes that mistakes. He takes the blame, and you know, he'll come back stronger. He's a big character.
We stand together. Hey, we stand together and we fall together.
Yeah, no,
and everyone. People cast around for a scapegoat. It went wrong, therefore I must be pointing at somebody. No, I don't want that in my life. The people I coach in the gym, I don't blame them if they make mistakes. support means succour and comfort when it's not going well. That's what support means to me. So we'll regroup, like Nuno said, and like Sam has so eloquently said, and we go again against Tottenham.
Everyone forgets with Murillo as well that he was the one that saved the 3 points against Man United the other week. How quickly that goes out of people's minds when he's made a mistake. So
and Sam, the block on the line against Wolves when he kept it with his knee. He's an incredible footballer, that lad. I love him so much. He's a character. He's the most unorthodox centre half in this entire league. You know, he could have got us a point at Villa with that howitzer that he hit against the bar. You know, so you have good days and bad days, and I don't know. Maybe I'm too philosophical for all this kind of stuff, but you know,
some good points, Dave. I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. I'm going to clip that bit of your inspirational advice then about people making mistakes and support. I'm going to play that when I get up in the morning, mate, and I'm having a rough day and a rough morning. And I'm going to play Dave Astbury on repeat. I might turn you off by the end of the week, Dave, but I'll listen to you for a bit, mate.
The thing is, Max, we're all in the doo-doo. It's just a question of depth, is it not?
Oh, you love your You are good, Dave. You are good. That's why we. I was about to say that's why we pay you a wage. We don't pay you a wage.
I'm here for you, Max.
We don't have the budget for that, mate. Sam, let's just quickly before we look at Tottenham and the obviously the last six games, isn't it? 6 games now that we've got. What did you make to Moreno? I mean, Forest are massively missing Ola Reina. I think his presence has been massively missed recently. And again, if we looked at why maybe Callum Hudson-Odoi, Anthony Elanga weren't getting service, Jota Silva even, well, it comes from the flanks a lot. It comes from Ola Reina making those runs. I thought Nico probably had one of the best games out of everyone on Saturday. Elliot Anderson was all right too. He got man of the match. But I thought everyone else had a shocker. And I thought Alex Moreno just didn't look good at all, Sam.
It's hard when you've been used to having Ola on that left hand side, the right hand side the entire time, and when he's missing out of that back four, it makes a real difference, and that's a testament to him, testament to his quality. But yeah, I would have preferred Harry Toffolo to play. I don't know about anyone else. I just think he defensively offers a lot more subtly, and I think that. I don't know for whatever reason. Obviously, he's probably past his kind of peak in his career. But as someone that whenever I've watched him play, he always gives 110% and barely puts a foot wrong. I just think he's the type of person that in a game like Everton is exactly who you need in the back four. Someone that's just going to be rock solid and steady. And yeah, maybe in hindsight, Nuno may have changed it and gone for something different, but. Moreno's another strange one where he had a great start to his Forest life and just doesn't seem to have been able to recapture that form, which is a real shame because I think when we first started seeing him in a Forest shirt, I thought we could all kind of think, oh, this is a great loan move. Like I don't know how Villa have managed to let him go. This is crazy. And yeah, it's maybe not worked out for him in the best way, and that's maybe partly because he's had 2 fantastic fullbacks ahead of him all season, so he's not had the chance to get a run of games and that sort of thing. But yeah, he wasn't great, as a lot of the team weren't great on Saturday. So I don't want to obviously dig individuals out as much as we can, but when Ola comes back, I'm looking forward to when Ola comes back, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the nicest way possible.
Missed Ola's personality, boys, didn't you think? Because Ola is the great entertainer. He's a real personality, a genuine personality. He's funny, I think he gives them a real boost. I think they all kind of vibe off him because he's just hilarious. I don't know if he's around match days on if he's injured, if he's around like the squad or anything like that, but that must be a massive vacancy in the dressing room for a personality like him not to be there, like just in terms of vibes, everything like that. It must be a big loss if he's not in and around that dressing room. So just even for like you say, for ability on the pitch and for off it, he's so important, isn't he? And you know what, Sam, to your excellent point about Harry, from what I've gleaned, seeing interviews, I saw Morgan and Woody interviewed the other week, and they were on about who's the funniest in the dressing room, and they said Harry. I expected to be Ola. So Harry's a cult hero. Harry hasn't played many minutes this year, but I want to know, Harry Toffolo kind of comes out, and that tells you, the affection that he's held in. And I think, with Alex Moreno, he was absolutely brilliant against Liverpool and Mo Salah early in the season. He's absolutely outstanding. And then he was the main man until we met Villa before Christmas, and he couldn't play because he was ineligible. Nico came in and had a cracker, and Nico's kept his place. I mean, and Max, in my view, you're absolutely right. I thought Nico was. Elliot got the award, and Elliot's been amazing. What a superb signing, and a good lad as well. But I thought Nico was in a mediocre collective outcome. I thought Nico was probably the guy who nicked the man of the match. So I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, I know, I agree. A few comments. This one saying Chelsea will only need 6 more points, Villa 9 more, meaning we'll need 6 from 6 to get 5th. Beat Leicester, it's 3 from 5. Above prediction includes a draw v Chelsea. That's in depth. That's predicting quite ahead. Ashley says, I've trusted Forest since I was a schoolboy in the early 80s, and I will believe in them. Yeah, nice point. This one from Tim. Ola Aina is so critical in these losses. His ability to spot what our opponent wants to do and sniff out big plays is second to none. This one from Pat. It's clear to me that we are tiring badly and the inevitable injuries are taking their toll. The only question is, can we regroup and get enough points to get us over the line? Sam, can we? Do you feel like Forest will finish in the Champions League places? A big clash against Tottenham next week. Easter Monday, bank holiday, bit of time to prepare. What do you think?
Of course we can. Look how we played all season. One game doesn't change that. Yeah, of course we can. We've got the players, we've got the quality, and one small blip doesn't shouldn't derail that. And the boys should still be full of confidence. And this is the sort of time where you need leaders in that dressing room. And thankfully, we've got two or three fantastic leaders in that dressing room. You think Yates, Gibbs White, Chris Wood. We've got some real quality leadership in that group. So yeah, there's absolutely no reason why anyone's going to be disheartened in that dressing room right now and thinking that it's the dream's over. Not a chance. We're in the driving seat. We've got the cards in our hands, and we've got every chance to finish in that top 5. And yeah, I have full confidence that we'll do it.
Dave, you agree, mate?
I think it's good that we've got 9 days. They can rest and recuperate. There was a sense of slight legginess towards the end of Saturday, but I think that was more to do with the physicality, the immediacy of the physicality of Everton. So I think it's good that they've got this week. By the time we play, we might have dropped down a couple of places. I mean, Newcastle have got their game in hand against Palace. Not easy, because Palace have been playing some great football recently. Newcastle have got their game in hand, I think, Wednesday night. So, we might be the ones that people now are casting aspersions about. Forest are going to be the ones that miss out. Villa have got this, Newcastle have got this, City, whatever, Arsenal, Liverpool. And that might just help. It might just put us again in the role of the outsider. I mean, the worry about a week tonight is that Tottenham have been so monumentally awful. And Ange's job, I think the worry we have really is if they lose to Frankfurt on Thursday night in Frankfurt, Tottenham might have a new manager come Monday, because really all of Ange Postecoglou's eggs are in that basket, and that basket is rattling and shaking at the moment. They might be shell and egg and yolk all over the place by the time we get there, and they might have somebody else in charge, and they might have that bounce. So there's a bit of me, please, Tottenham beat Frankfurt, and Frankfurt are a decent side, even without Marmouche now. They've got Ekitike and people like that. So it's not going to be easy. And our record at this new Tottenham Stadium isn't great. But, I have got total confidence. Our manager just strikes me as being a guy who's got his head in the right place. The perspective and the context are always in the correct place. His feet are properly on the ground. They'll be hurting. They themselves are I think they're the most likable, engaging, charming bunch of Forest players we've had for a long, long time. They're such good guys. There's no bad apples in there. There's nobody rocking the cut. The days of the Harry Arters and the John Joe Shelbys, who patently shouldn't have been here, have long gone. And I think they'll get together this week and out of adversity, let's at least come away from Tottenham with something. That's what we need to do. And then we move on to we've got the semi-final then. We're going to go into that completely written off because everybody will say, well, City will win that because that's what City do. That's a great place to be. And then working towards the games after that. Absolutely. I agree with Sam. Absolutely they can. They've shown it before. I mean, they get thumped at, for example, they get thumped at Bournemouth 5-0. And I remember saying after we came out to Bournemouth, I was interviewed on the Bournemouth channel, and I said, if we then go and beat Brighton next week and you lose your game to Liverpool, then this 5-0 defeat is kind of rendered meaningless. What I never expected was to go and thump a really good side in Brighton and over Albion 7-0. So Forest have got it in their locker to surprise you when you least expect it. And if you've got that asset, but you've got this bedrock of calm and composure that Nuno has got, and this attention to detail they've got, then Forest can go and do it. Do I think they'll do it? I don't really want to say one way or the other. I'd rather just wait and let's get there and see where we are at the end of the season. I mean, people say we've changed our expectations. All I can think about when I watch Nottingham Forest at the moment is Lineker said we go down, Jamie Carragher said we go down, umpteen inarticulate, educationally challenged YouTubers said we go down. And I said at the start of the season, give me 17th because I don't want to be thinking about a relegation battle. And we're talking about the Champions League. It's just ridiculous. Our lads are amazing. What they've done is phenomenal. I'm so proud of them. It's an honour to support Nottingham Forest at the moment. And they're worth my time, they're worth my money, and they're worth my affection. I love them dearly. And we should cherish them. Even on the bad days, we should cherish them, And we could be sitting here in another couple of weeks and the points are in the back for Champions League. We're going to an FA Cup final. I mean, what they've done is wonderful. You know what I mean?
No, lovely. Ready to run through brick walls for Forest now. What a podcast. Thanks, Sam and Dave. Loved it. Cheered me up. Have we all got Wembley tickets? Are we ready to go for Wembley?
So I have a bittersweet moment because I booked a holiday not thinking that semi-final for the FA Cup would have been even on the cards. So I am going on holiday.
Where are you going,
Wednesday.
Sam?
I'm going to Vietnam for 2.5 weeks. So
nice.
I'm going for it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to finding a bar to watch it and dragging my girlfriend into a nearest sports bar to watch the semi-final.
Love it.
You wouldn't have been I tell you what, when I was around the time I was born, Sammy wouldn't have been going to Vietnam, mate. He'd have been on the Ho Chi Minh Trail looking for a dodgy. He's on the Ho Chi Minh Trail looking for a dodgy fire stick. And I tell you what, mate, she must love you to go to Vietnam with you. I tell you, you've dropped on a right good run there. Let's just go in this bar up. Forest are playing City. But let's go and explore these. Temples and pagodas. No. Callum Hudson-Odoi's got the ball. We're going with that.
Yeah, we've got 2.5 weeks there, but 90 minutes is going to be spent watching Forest.
Good. Do you know what, Sam? I got asked when I started working in the gym. I got asked about holidays, and they all assume that you're going to go to like Benidorm or Marbella or Tenerife or Lanzarote and all this. And somebody goes, the guy at the time when I was booking holidays said, "Are you going anywhere exotic, Dave?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm going to Old Trafford, the Etihad, the Emirates, and all that."
Exotic, mate.
I'm going on holiday a week tonight to Tottenham, and then I'm having a holiday at Wembley. You know what I mean? So the only time I book holiday from work is to do with Forest. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I got my ticket. I got my ticket.
My brother's got mine. So if when we get to the final, I'll be there for the final. Don't worry about that.
Good lad. Good luck. I tell you what, you want that Gary Baldy all over the world. Your red shirt in Vietnam, wear it proud, Sam. Get your girlfriend to wear a shirt. Yeah. Look, I want you to wear this sexy outfit. What is it? Put this Forest top on. You know what I mean? Now I tell you what. Again, the fact that we're having this conversation just shows you what our lads have done. It's phenomenal, honestly. You know what I mean? And we'll see what goes on. They're mountains to climb. All the games left are mountains to climb. Cities are mountain to climb. But if you haven't got a ticket, you can't get in the raffle, can you? And Forest are in the raffle properly, and it's great. It's wonderful.
Lovely. No, some good points, both. Thank you, as ever. Thanks for all the comments as well. Lots live on this Monday evening, so appreciate those. We will be back. It's a bit disjointed at the minute. Apologies, we've not been with all the content that we should maybe be getting out at the minute. Sadly, I've got a degree to do. I finish in about 3 weeks, and I can't blooming wait. So I'm spent not writing a dissertation, doing a final major project. I'm doing it on policing football fans. So my Tuesday evening last week was spent at Derby Chesterfield with Derbyshire Police, and my Monday was spent interviewing ex-football hooligans. So there you go. I'd like you to meet them, Dave, and you could talk to them about herbal tea, mate.
Just try this chamomile calming brew, lads. You're fighting organised crime with a mug full of Tetleys.
Oh,
Twining's that's what you want. Yeah,
you've cracked me right up there, Dave.
I sometimes don't know whether it's a curse or not being a teetotaler, Max. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So apologies for the lack of content. It will get better in the next couple of weeks, I promise you, and especially when we're going to Wembley. It's due. I think my final major project's due 2 days after Wembley. So fingers crossed it'll all be done by then, and Forest will be in an FA Cup final. So more content soon. Mark might be on some previews as well. He'll be hosting a bit in the next couple of weeks. So if you see him pop up, don't worry. I'm still alive. I'm still here, but I might just go under the radar for a bit. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the likes and shares. As always, give us a like, share, and subscribe on Spotify. Sam and Dave, enjoy your evening. Whatever you're up to, boys. Have a good one, and I'm sure we'll see you all very soon. In fact, Dave, tell us what you're up to, mate. You always do.
Episode 7 of This City Is Ours.
Is it good, that?
Yeah, it is actually. It's a bit like a Scouse Sopranos. It's really, really good. I love the accents. All right there, shot your old fella. You know what I mean? So I like that. Bournemouth and Fulham.
Oh, and yeah, then, that's tonight.
I shall watch that. And then I should probably read a book for a couple of hours and then go to bed about 12 o'clock as per normal.
Lovely, mate. Yeah. Lovely.
But I'm not. In a minute, I'm going to check out the Wikipedia map for Vietnam to see where they're going to be showing that semi-final.
You better get it mapped out on the travel route, Sam. You better start doing an itinerary. I'm doing one at the minute for when I go travelling maybe in the summer, and I'm I'm trying to get one out and stuff for sports bars in Vietnam.
I tell you what, I just think it's brilliant that Sam and the love of his life going out to Vietnam. Somebody asked me about the love of my life, and what's she like? I said, oh, she's great. We've had some down times, we've had some good times. They say, oh, what's the name? I said, she's called Nottingham Forest Football Club. That's what I'm in love with.
Right, let's get going before we keep rambling on. Both of you, thanks very much as always. Appreciate your time. Give us a like, share, and subscribe on Spotify. We'll be back at the end of the week, hopefully, and then I'll review episode for Tottenham next Monday. If I don't see you before then, have a nice Easter, everyone. Happy Easter to those that celebrate. Enjoy it, and we will see you all very soon. Forest, just a reminder, are still third. Come on, you Reds.